I was walking down the pathway between two garden beds and I looked up and there's this sumac tree that I had incrementally planted in the garden to provide a little bit of shade and stuff like that. But something caught my eye up in that tree and it looked really unusual. It was like a giant puffball. So that is the inspiration of today's video. We are going to explore what that is and how that kind of fits into the landscape, kind of going beyond and into larger ecological niches and connections and relationships. So that puffball that I found up in that sumac tree was actually a goldfinch nest, right? An American goldfinch nest. And so the goldfinch almost kind of has this symbiotic relationship in a way with the thistle plant. And of course there are many different species of thistle, some of which are native to North America, some of which are not. But for sure the American goldfinch has forged a relationship with a lot of these natively occurring thistles over a long period of time. And so the goldfinch doesn't just eat the seed of these thistles, but it also incorporates the down from those seed heads into its nest. And I can only imagine it's probably a pretty comfy material to add into a nest. It's probably their equivalent of a sofa. So there is the American goldfinch and there is also the European goldfinch, although pretty much what you're going to find here in America should be pretty much the American goldfinch. And these two goldfinches look substantially different from each other, right? The American goldfinch is much more yellow and black. The European has some more stripes and different colors going on there. So they're pretty easy, pretty distinct to tell apart. These goldfinches are primarily seed eaters, right? Even with their young, and around that time, they are usually eating flower seeds, right? Throughout the duration of the growing season. And so they will feed upon some of these different flowers, including, but definitely not limited to, dandelions, which will flower and set seed earlier in the season, followed by thistles, and then a little bit later, and then also the sunflowers later in the summer into the fall, right? So there is somewhat of a sequential bloom going on there that can help to sustain the lives of these goldfinches throughout that season on the landscape. However, these finches may also eat insects to a small degree, especially aphids, which can be plant pests, right? And but aphids suck the plant sap out of the plants, and so they can be kind of sweet, and so it might be a draw to some of these goldfinches. So maybe a little bit of natural pest control, probably not in a way that you can really depend on it though, but it does happen from time to time, so worth to note. And then, as I said again, the thistle down is what's used in the nest building, and so that comes from the thistle plant. And these nests have been popping up, I've found, in the sumac trees that I have in the garden. And so I found at least 2 of them in the garden this year. So we have this ecological interaction going on that's kind of building on itself, right? With this gardening, introducing or allowing the sumac, the native staghorn sumac, to grow in the garden, and then also having some of these thistles pop up here and there along with the dandelions, and I'm growing sunflowers this year too. And so between these thistles, dandelions, and sumac, it's really allowing for a good population of goldfinches on this landscape, which is pretty cool to see, right? As I've noted down here, we have an aesthetic aspect where a lot of people who like to go birding or like to be on top of their ornithology or whatever really enjoy watching goldfinches, right? Their colorations, their antics, and all of that can be a good thing. And then also, along with some of these other indirect ecological functions, the goldfinch can also be prey for some larger avian predators such as hawks on the landscape, right? Hawks can be really beneficial for helping to control mice, voles, rodents, things like that. These goldfinches can also help increase wildflower diversity, right? Spreading seeds to different areas along with their own personal dose of fertilizer that they add with it. and so it can benefit the landscape in that way. And then riding on top of that is, along with this wildflower diversity, we also have a greater insect diversity, right? Think of a lot of these beneficials, like the pollinators, some of the predatory insects that really thrive on pollen and nectar sources that are nearby. So we create this like cascading domino effect of ecological functionality, which is really great to be a part of, and it's really cool to see the garden develop in this way and be able to support all this life and help to continue to work to kind of balance itself out on that landscape. Thank you so much for checking out this video on the goldfinch and how it can build its nest, its diet that it has, and just overall how it can kind of fit into the overall landscape and benefit and play its part in that overall grand scheme of things. Not to mention, the goldfinch is just enjoyable to watch on the landscape. How it really embodies this sense of play, its striking colors, all of that. And it can just be a really welcome presence on the landscape. And so taking this, now we kind of know how to support their lives and how to let them thrive on the landscape. So thank you so much for watching. Of course, subscriptions are always appreciated, and feel free to join as a member as well. It really helps out the channel. And in the meantime, I will catch you in the next video.